1, 2, 3. Hey, I gotta make sure I got my little things on. Really hard to type in these things. So I'm not. That was it. That was the end of the nail show. But happy Halloween, everybody. Hope you like the content. Ready for a quick one? I'm supposed to be a guy called Wolverine from X-Men, and people asked me to dress up as that guy for Halloween. So here I am. So I hope you're all having fun. And this is what these endemic times do to you. Make you a little bit crazy. Anyhow, all good. Let's jump in. This is where I answer all your top questions. And let's start at the top and see what we got. Again, Sunday Q&A. Thank you for submitting all the questions. This is about math, money, and freedom. And not financial advice. Purely entertainment. Look at the way I'm dressed. You wouldn't take me seriously, would you? Okay, so first of all, let's go. First question. And thank you all for being there in the chat. So this is from Dan G. Might be best to finance our next property with little down and invest a large chunk into Bitcoin. Do you concur? From Dan, yes, I definitely do. And if you are deciding to invest your money in either crypto or real estate, the decision is simple. Real estate has significantly less risk, gives you more consistent returns, and provide you with sort of a hedge. It's a tangible asset. But if you buy real estate with 5 to 10% down, you still get the upside of real estate and the safety of that asset, and also be able to participate in this transformational time. So, as usual, I built a model just for you, Dan, and here we go. This is basically the return on investment, ROI, of Bitcoin versus real estate. Now, I just threw this together to kind of address your question, give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So if you can find a way, most banks, etc., they ask for 20% down when you invest. So imagine the scenario where you are buying a $400,000 house. You got to put $20,000 down, that's $80,000 out of your pocket. And imagine you have the other $60,000 left over to buy Bitcoin. What will happen after 10 years, 9 years in fact, to 2030? So assuming a worst case compound annual growth rate on Bitcoin of 30%, your Bitcoin will go from 61,000 to 646,000 by the end of 2030. That is ultra conservative. You can take that to the bank, barring any unforeseen circumstances like a black swan event or whatever else. Now, your return on investment from real estate, imagine your worst case real estate appreciation, assuming you were in a good city or place where people want to move to and grow. That's very important when you invest in real estate. You buy a $400,000 house, it'll grow by 10% per year. It'll be worth $943,000 in the year 2030, and your gain after paying off your mortgage and taking out your initial investment will be about $543,000. So net, your real estate gets you 578% return, assuming 20% down, and Bitcoin gets you nearly 1,000%. So yes, the answer is yes. Get both, but put as little as you can down and finance as much as you can at as low a fixed rate as possible. If you can get a 10-year fixed at 2.5%, go get it. If you can get a 10-year fixed at 2.5% with interest only, even better. More to invest in this transformational time. So Dan, thank you for your question. So, next question. I got this a lot, but I thought it's important to tackle it with real data. So, you're a supporter of decentralization. This is from Guy. And a strong supporter of Bitcoin and Ethereum. But the other hand, you're supporting Solana, which is centralized. Strong centralized FTX exchange. I hear mixed comments regarding this topic of staying true to decentralized ethos. Would like to hear your thoughts. Well, this is a brilliant question. And Guy, I get it a lot. So there's a couple of things you got to bear in mind is, first of all, when things begin as a new project, Solana's a little over a year old, it will be centralized. It's got to be built. You don't become decentralized overnight. That's first of all. Second of all, the best way to look at decentralization is to look at all of the validators, people on the outside that validate the chain. That is an indication of how decentralized a chain actually is. So I pulled together all of the data for this so you could all see for all of kind of the top smart contract platforms. So Ethereum, Elrond, Cardano, Solana, Avalanche, Tezos, Algorand, Polkadot, all the way down the line. I also included the total active validators for each. You can see Ethereum has a whopping 217,266. Now, everybody out there, if everybody's trying to catch me out, these numbers change all the time. Okay, so the number of active validators in Solana could be 1127 before I even finish this. And they're growing at 10% per month. So the key here is to look at these. Now, the other dimension to look at is the amount of years that this chain has been out. Ethereum has been around for 7 years. Elrond, 5 years. Cardano, 5 years. Solana, a little over 1 year. Avalanche, 5 years. And the number of validators, you can see that Solana is ranked number 4 from these top 20 chains. But remember, it's one of the newest as well. And the number of validators on Solana are growing by over 10% per month. I know a few validators that are setting up their infrastructure right now to be a validator. And of course, being a validator is a very lucrative space. So that's where we are. So everybody, please take into account the time the chain has been in existence and the number of validators. And remember, you got to take time to ramp up. I predict that Solana will have more validators than Cardano by Q1 next year. So watch this space carefully, everybody. And that's the important thing to note. Also, when you look at decentralization versus centralization, you've got people who remain nameless. You know, I'm not even going to touch that one. You guys figure out yourself. But this is a basic way to look at it regarding validators. And yes, Solana is a little bit decentralized, but very rapidly becoming very decentralized. And that's why we like it. So next question is from Mary L. My average price for Solana is $39. Do you foresee it going over $200 again for this bull market? And should I add to my bag at this price considering how low my average price is? Now, first of all, we take the questions based on all of the amount of commonality and the amount of common questions that come in. And we get thousands of questions all the time. This week, there happens to be a lot of Solana questions. So for those of you who hate Solana, you may want to turn off for the next 3 or 4 slides. But there's a few. So back to Mary's question. Do you foresee it going over $200 again this bull market? And should I add to my bag at this price considering what my price is? So great question. Simple answer is I bought Solana originally at $20, $22, $36, $56, all the way up. And in fact, I bought it a couple of days ago at $182. So I'm still buying at this price, even though I got in at $20 because I just want more of it. And I'm layering in. Now, if you buy something, you bought, say, 100 tokens at $39 and you buy another 10 or 20 at, say, $200, it doesn't impact your overall average price too much because so much of it is at such a low price. The other thing is where we are going. I do believe Solana is going to $450, maybe $550, $600, $700 this cycle based on exactly how bullish the market goes. But if Ethereum goes to $10,000, Solana will be very much on fire. So buying it at $200 will seem like a steal. So great job and keep it up, Mary. Next question. I want to allocate 20K into Sol. Is the current price of $190 a bit high? That's from Andrew K. So Andrew, I don't know how really to answer this question, but assuming you have a diversified crypto portfolio, it depends on your weightings. But basically, if anybody is kind of new to the game and want to get in, I do recommend 60% Bitcoin, 20% ETH, 20% Solana. These are the safest bets right now. And you can also stake some of those items too. So that's what I would consider doing. It depends. If you have $1 million portfolio, you got an extra 20,000. Yeah, maybe put it all in Solana. But if you don't, diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. There's always risk. Next question is regarding storing Solana from Incognito. Now that Solana is a valuable asset in portfolios, we want to take it off the exchanges to cold storage. Normally we use Ledger Nano S and wonder if the extensions for Sol are safe enough or should we consider metamask. So from Incognito. So I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you what I do. So yes, you can use the Ledger Nano X hardware wallet. The Nano S will work also with the Solflare web wallet. Pretty easy to use. I currently have Solana on a couple of different exchanges. I also have it on Exodus where I stake it. And I also started staking it through Phantom Wallet at one of the exchanges there. And I found that whole Phantom Wallet experience to be really easy. and secure. And normally, yes, hot wallets, web-based wallets are a little bit riskier, but I checked the security behind Phantom Wallet, and it's pretty rock solid. So I'm staking it right there. So I hope that helps. That tells you what I do. I do not put my Solana on a Ledger Nano because I don't use ledgers. That's just me. So let me see. Next question. With Coinbase possibly getting sued, investigated by SEC, do you think it would be wise to clear any crypto sitting on a Coinbase exchanges? That's from Stebbs. So basically my rule of thumb is never leave too much on an exchange. You never know what's going to happen. But there is no risk from the SEC. The SEC was after them for some of their new lending plans to become like a Nexo or a Celsius. And that's where they came down. But there's no risk for the company itself. The head of Coinbase is extremely open and transparent with the SEC. So there's no risk at all. But never keep more than, say, $250,000 worth of crypto on an exchange, just in case. Do some self-storage. Do some passive income on platforms like Celsius, etc. Stake it like I just did with Solana. And that's kind of the way I am operating right now. And I'm staking more and more as time goes on, which is kind of fun. So next question. I'm going to start buying crypto for my daughter. Congratulations to you. She is 1 year old, looking very long term. Should I just buy Bitcoin or ETH, or should I just buy stablecoin USDC? I will be staking it to earn passive income as well. Well, T-Dogs, very proud of you. Great thing that you are doing. I would just, considering it's your daughter, I would stay with the most pristine asset, and that would be Bitcoin. But always revisit. Come back in 2025, reinvest or reassess your thesis as to where things are going. Then again in 2028, keep an eye on things. Don't think you can invest in one asset and close your eyes for 20 years, 25 years. Those days are gone. The world is changing so fast right now. I don't recommend doing that for anybody. So watch that space. But if things go the way I think they're going to go, that'll be a great asset for your daughter. That's a great idea. It'll pay for a lot of things down the line. So next question is from David M. I am a tiny shrimp with just under 20K. Started at 1,500 in January. My largest bags are Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin. I also hold some Polkadot at 38 through DCA. Wonder if I should cut my loss and swap it out. Interesting question. So first of all, I remain bullish on Polkadot, but I'm waiting for the parachains to launch, and I think Polkadot can easily hit 60, 70, $80. Many people are calling for it to go way over 100. I think just under 100 is kind of where it's going to go. You can see the green line on the chart that I have there. This is where I would think about exiting a little bit. And what I did was I put together a little exit plan for you around Polkadot, just so you can start thinking in terms of these dimensions. So this chart here has a couple of things that I just want to highlight to you, and the kind of the approach that I take for exit strategies. One is I put in your risk tolerance there as a number 2. This varies depending on how people are. The number of tokens you have, I assume you have 100 tokens. It could be 10, it could be 1, whatever. Take that with whatever you want. Your cost base is 38. My price prediction is 99 for this cycle. So what you could do is pick a couple of key levels. So for example, $50, sell 12.5% of your bag. Okay. $59, another 12.5%, $65, 12.5%, $71, 12.5%, and keep on selling all the way up. And you'll see there as well, you'll have your profit per sale, as well as your opportunity cost of selling a little bit early with the profit that you lock in, and you'll be able to quickly assess when you can take your money off the table. And that's the easy way to approach it. And you can play with this any way you like, but that's a good discipline to think about where this is going to go, because I do believe there are better chains than Polkadot out there, but I still own Polkadot, but I'm just waiting for the parachain auctions, which should drive a lot of demand for the tokens, which should really inflate the price. And that's when you exit, and that's when you need a strategy like this. So thank you for the question, and I hope it helps. Next question. This is from Crypto Mom. Single mom with total income, 8.5K a year due to time in and out of hospital watching over son. Zero debt, 11K saved and invested as follows. 3 shares of Coinbase, 0.1 BTC, 1.7 ETH, 47 Link, etc. I have 2K to invest soon. So the reason I'm doing this, I know people hate portfolio questions. which is a single mom, needs help. So I want to give a little bit of insight, not financial advice, but what I would do if I was in her situation. So first of all, this is your portfolio I built out. I hope your boy is doing better. And these are the assets. So I put in your holdings, as well as the amount of additional investment, the profit to date, the market values as the tokens to date, and the market value of the tokens in the year 2030. So you get an idea of what your nest egg will look like. And it also gives you an idea of how you should invest going forward. So a couple of things that I would, not financial advice, but if I was in your shoes, of what I would do. One, I would keep the Bitcoin. Number two, I would keep the Ethereum. Number three, Chainlink. I'd start selling it once we get up to the $60 range, $65. I notice your price at 47, or no, your entry price at 36 was a little higher than we are now, so you're actually at a loss on that. Coinbase has bounced up a lot, so you're back at break even, more or less. I would definitely think about getting rid of Coinbase. I think Coinbase can go to 350, maybe 400, but I think other assets will go a lot higher, a lot faster. So the total top out price of Coinbase will be $400, but that's only 15% of where you are from now. So I would get rid of that, take the loss or sell a break even, and then I would move the money into a combination. I'd buy 10 Solana coins, and whatever change you have left from the sale of Coinbase, I'd put into Bitcoin. And that would give you more of a balanced portfolio with Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, and Chainlink. And it'll put you in a good position for the future as well. So hope that helps. Again, not financial advice, just ideas as to what I would do based on numbers that I see out there. Now, next question. I assume you saw Cathie sold a sizable chunk of Tesla yesterday via 3 separate funds. Yesterday, meaning Friday last week. As somebody waiting to go get in on Tesla, I'd love to hear your thoughts. You and Cathie are not always on the same page. From Glenn J. Yes, excellent question. We get this a lot too. You're not the only one to ask this question. Remember, ARK Invest has to rebalance their portfolio all the time. And let me explain why. They can't have more than 10% of their basket in one asset because of risk. So basically what you are seeing is the following. In this little chart here, you can see, yes, she sold a sizable chunk. In fact, all those little red dots are exits from Tesla. You'll notice a correlation between the price going up, the yellow line. This is the Tesla price skyrocketing. Now, as you know, as she goes up, she exceeds her 10% allocation in the portfolio, so she needs to scale it back and take money off the table and deploy it elsewhere. This is a very prudent and clever thing to do. She is not doing it because she's no longer bullish on Tesla, but she's doing it because her fund dictates that. Now, there's another way of looking at this too, is if you look at this here, this is the amount of the weight in the fund. You can see the weight in the fund is the same. It's basically up at the top of the chart. That has not changed at all. It's just the price of Tesla went from $650 to over $1,100 now. So it's nearly doubled in a short window of time. And this is the problem. This is why she needs to weigh out her portfolio. So yes, the only thing that Cathie Wood and I don't agree with is a couple of stocks that she chose to invest in and her thoughts on the deflationary future. Yes, there will be deflation caused by technology stocks, but not for everything else. So if you're buying flat screen plasma TVs and Teslas and stuff like that, yeah, you'll be fine. But if you're buying blueberries and apples and bread and gasoline and paying rent and medical expenses, yeah, it's very much an inflationary environment. So big thank you for that question. And finally, some great news with a little bit of sad news. So we sponsored 2 new bears. We have Boo Boo, best friends with Winston. Winston just passed from cancer, unfortunately, in June, so we're replacing with 2 new Winstons. And we have Ben, who was rescued from... Is there a time when you suggest selling Ethereum and Solana, going all in with BTC? Yes, perhaps. So the way I see these things, if there is something wrong with the Ethereum chain or the Solana program going forward, where I see shaky signs or a new chain that could take over and dominate. For example, a lot of people believe Phantom could be a Solana killer, and Solana is the Ethereum killer. So that could happen. You know, I always say keep your tap dancing shoes on because you never know what's going to happen going forward. In terms of going in on Bitcoin, I'm already almost all in on Bitcoin. If you look at the amount of proxies that I have that are Bitcoin related, you know, Square, MicroStrategy, all these other names, miners like CleanSpark and Hut 8, so a huge part of my equity portfolio is already in Bitcoin proxies. So from that perspective, I'm all in. But I do believe it's important to have a good 30 to 40% in some of these new chains that are basically the infrastructure of the future. So I hope that helps. But yeah, everything is for sale at the right price. If something tops out real fast based on my price prediction models, I'll be the first one to sell and get out. And of course, I'll share that with you as well. You'll get full transparency from me all the time. Whatever I buy, whatever I sell, I share. So let's go to the next question and pull up. I'm trying to read these with my poor eyes. So next question is from Work Hard Hodl BTC. What is the best way to deal with a black or gray swan event like China moving on Taiwan? Do you offload assets ASAP or wait for a bottom and get back in, and do you ride it out? So the best way that I deal with these types of things is I move into a cash position whenever possible. But also, if I see things like saber rattling happening, I start hedging positions. So you guys may recall back in August, I moved to about 20% cash. And then I was waiting for something to happen. I thought it'd be your usual August, September correction. That didn't happen. But then we had the Evergrande situation, and that took the markets down. And what I did then was started deploying capital. I get into a couple of synthetic longs like MicroStrategy and CleanSpark. And and I bought Bitcoin and Solana and a few other names. And now I'm pretty much out of cash. So I started harvesting cash again to be ready. So it's never good to ride out situations like that, but be in a position to be able to hedge quickly when you can and hedge strategically against your most volatile assets. And that is kind of the way that I do it. So for example, now that we have the BTO asset, we can easily hedge Bitcoin very quickly and easily. And I have an upcoming video on how we do that as well. So Armando, thoughts on Happy, cybersecurity oracle partnered with Solana, Linux, Matic, XTC, Near Reef. I had a look at the Happy guys a long time ago. It was a little bit too small. I didn't have all the information I needed to make a decision. I know it's doubled in size lately. Let's have a look at the chart of that. But it's just at the time. Hold on a second. I know it's been very active lately, and security is a good play, but let's look at the year to date. Let me see if this actually shows if I share my screen. Let me see. I hope it's showing. But here you can see exactly where we are. It was hovering around $50 for a huge part of the year. Let's go year to date. It came down from its all-time high and it shot up to 130 and it's tanking down again around 88. So I don't know. I did have a look at it, but I wasn't convinced to buy into it at all at this stage. I know they've done some work in some partnerships and they do have a limited supply, but I still think there are better horses out there. So Brad M, Polygon co-founder Sandeep Nawal is now a paid advisor to QuickSwap Quick. Any thoughts? Could this become a good small market cap? Currently just over $100 million market cap. So those tiny names I typically don't look at. Let me pull up this guy. Hang on a second. I turn this off again. I don't normally look at those micro caps, but I will take a note, Brad. And again, there's a lot of people who are co-founders in get involved in so many other projects. It's not necessarily a complete verification that it's a good project to jump on. So, but I will have a look right now. I don't have any quick notes on QuickSwap. But it sounds like it's one of those dexes where you can swap stuff, which there are just so many right now. It's just such a competitive space. And even if you look at the performance of Uniswap, etc., they have not been doing that well during this market cycle. So I'm less bullish, even though I'm a huge believer in decentralized exchanges, less bullish in that particular space. Shelly H, thoughts on dot parachain auctions, please? Yes, very bullish. It's going to drive up the demand for Polkadot. And I do think we're going to have a very nice run in November and December based on the parachain auctions. But then I'm planning my exit like I covered as well. John Frank, I've been doing a lot of research on Sovereign and bought in yesterday. Do you think I get some stacks to hedge my investment? So stacks and Sovereign, they are very, very new chains. I love the idea of DeFi on Bitcoin, as you saw in my initial video, but I'm just not convinced enough. They're a little too early stage for me. I know that's when the big money is made, but we will see where we go from there. So I was still digging in and still trying to convince myself. But I think it's definitely worth having a small position in both right now, just as a hedge, the same way you'd have a small position in something like Chili's or Engine Coin, which has done very well too. So hope that helps. Plumbing, is Plan B's stock to flow prediction of 10 million Bitcoin in 2028 possible without hyperinflation? Price due to money flows in from ETFs and pension funds. Yes, it absolutely is. Harder to do, but you will need that money printing kind of to debase and accelerate the currencies. But if you just look at the size of the assets, so there's 400 trillion out there in the market that's invested. If about 5 or 10% of that 400 trillion goes into Bitcoin, it's $10 million of Bitcoin. And that could easily happen because, the growth rate in the adoption of Bitcoin and the money flowing in is far beyond my wildest expectations this year. We've seen so much happen between El Salvador. That was something that I thought would happen in the year 2025. Never so soon. So it could very, very easily happen. But the other problem is the stock to flow model breaks down once it goes above 100. So once the scarcity of Bitcoin goes beyond that of real estate, it invalidates itself because the denominator goes to infinity real fast. So that's one of the things you can't really rely on the stock to flow model. So from that perspective, plumbing, it won't work. Investor's edge. When you sell a covered call and the price rises in the strike, do you roll the option or wait for the price to fall? For example, Tesla, January 23, 11.25 calls, current gamma squeeze conditioning. Yeah, January 2023, you're going to have plenty of options to buy Tesla back in. So Tesla, let's look at the chart. And let's be a... Bear with me one second. I hope this is going to work. And let me share. So I know that a lot of people are into Tesla. A lot of people bought Tesla. I've been pounding on the table on it for the last year. Let me pull this chart up for you guys. And get rid of this. So hopefully you can see. So this is what Tesla does. And I'm going to get rid of that. It is completely, very much overbought right now. I hope I'm sharing my screen somehow. But you can see it's going to come back down to earth. It's just a matter of time. The gamma squeeze can sometimes take 1, 2, 3 months. We saw that with things like GameStop and AMC. But it is very overbought. Even though it is a compelling value at this stage, I believe based on future earnings, the bears will have their day and it will come back down. I sold 2 tranches of calls against my long position, both the $1,100 strike, average price about $200. So my break even is $1,300. For me, if Tesla goes above $1,300, that's when I cover those calls and I roll them up. So I'll be selling like the 1400s out for probably $200. But I'll wait for the volatility to be at the right price before I do that. So that's how I do it. So yes, I call that a roll up for those of you who know. But this gamma squeeze is crazy and it's very overvalued right now. Even though it's a absolutely transformational company for the future, just too expensive, and it will come back down. I believe we'll see $850, $900 again, maybe even $750 if the market kind of corrects. Bob Teasdale, I hold BTC and MicroStrategy. If I combine MicroStrategy and tax-free account to the UK, would I be able to make more money from MicroStrategy than BTC after 20% taxes? Yes, you will, because tax-free account. Obviously, you don't pay taxes. And right now, MicroStrategy is about 8 or 9% undervalued based on its intrinsic value based on our models. It's trading, if you look at the market cap of MicroStrategy, it's 97% Bitcoin, 3% intrinsic value, and the company has an intrinsic value of at least 1.2 billion. So from that perspective, yes, the market still needs to wake up and see the value of MicroStrategy, but it will move up in the next 1 or 2 or 3 months for sure. Alexander Budd, Swiss, 5 francs. Thank you so much. Save the animals, save the earth. Swissborg. I don't know Swissborg. I don't have access, but I've heard great things about it. It is kind of a top-notch operation. But we haven't analyzed that actual exchange, but I know they do a lot of very creative stuff too. So I would definitely go for it. Bug Duck Huey, good opportunity to buy Phantom now at 260. Maybe. It's been very, very weak. Let's pull the chart up actually on Phantom right now. And that's one that we have been watching because it's just growing so fast. That's the power of it. Let's have a look. And here you can see, obviously, the big correction of Phantom down from, what did it hit? 360 down to 260. So it is cheap. I'm biding my time. I'm very close. If it gets anywhere near 250, I'll probably get some. And if it goes lower, I'll buy more. But it is completely, in the overbought stage here. And it does not get a good score on our smart contract platform or SCP profiler. It scores very poorly, but it's getting better. The tokenomics is getting better, and the adoption and the TVL and the DEXs are getting better, but it's not gonna kill Solana this cycle for sure. So I am waiting, and again, it's about 10 cents away from what I think is be a worthwhile position to get a little bit and then get in harder as it goes down more, if it does. Is it too late to invest in ETH? Yeah, hard question. I do think ETH is going to $9,000, $8,900, so it's a 2x from here. No, and it's going to pop real soon because of the sheer scarcity. And once more money starts flowing in, and the demand for all things ETH, despite the gas problems, is just exploding as well. You got to look at the type of money coming into the ETH market right now as well. It's being used by institutions, and they don't care about paying $30 or $50 or $90 in gas fees. They're doing $100,000 transactions. So from that perspective, it doesn't matter. And that's the only black mark that Ethereum has on it. Everything else is absolutely bullish. That's why I'm extremely bullish on Ethereum, extremely bullish on Solana as we go forward. So if you're interested in a 2x, I believe it's completely possible over the next 5 months. Not financial advice, of course. Mindfeld, I read Amazon is starting to use Chainlink. Yes, they are. Everybody's using Chainlink. This is why it's a screaming buy. And Chainlink is also going to be a critical linchpin to the metaverse as we go forward too. So, yeah, nobody's talking about Chainlink. It's like this utility. It's like it's a garbage company nobody cares about. But I remain steadfastly bullish on Chainlink. I think it's a $30 crypto that's easily worth $70 based on my model. So hang tough there. Being in motion, if I had, say, $1 Bitcoin, dollars worth of MicroStrategy, would that always approximate $1 Bitcoin? No, it can be diluted. So, for example, if they issue a lot of shares and do things other than buy Bitcoin with their shares, it could dilute the amount that you get. So that's an issue right now. I think it's 86 shares for every Bitcoin. Per my calculations, it might be a little bit higher now because the stock is basically priced at pure Bitcoin value. It doesn't include the intrinsic value. But what I like about MicroStrategy is they can play the financial jiu-jitsu game, as I call it. They can borrow, they can issue shares, they can, do 100 different things to raise money creatively to acquire more Bitcoin. And that's what they're planning to do too, and they will do it. So I want to make sure I did not miss any questions. Not so far. And big thank you as well for your donations. Jeff Hamburg, C. Vales, GT350, Vicious Lee, Joe St. Lawrence. You guys are all crazy today. DeFi Queen, Bob Teasdale, Grandma in New York City for the children's hospitals. Yes, we are trying to see if we can actually transfer ETH to St. Jude's. But anyway, and a big thank you as well for the big donations of Matsy and Caligula for the critters, and Free the Blocks and Letrotol and Sufi Cypher, Miss Tina, Technics, Spartian for the win, Susan Razor, Jeeves. Hey Jeeves, hope the new house is going well. Pony, Aiden M, Moto JB, JP Saunders, Corn, Steve G, Kryptonite in my pants. You guys are everywhere. He's always online. CCD, Abundantia, that's a cool name. Ozma, Desert Dog, Scott Howard, Stephen D, Charlie, Abundantia, Buck Lioness, and B.D. McGee. I've never seen so many names. Wonder Twin, SN, Devine Mark, Anomalous, Liliana, Pantoja, me, Shelley. I'm playing with Pastels, Code of the Mo. And a big thank you for your $50 donation invested. Again, we give it to the animals, so that is awesome. And in terms of the Fool's Gold, good night. In terms of the market, yeah, usual weakness. But you know what's probably going to happen tonight? We'll be asleep and Bitcoin will explode. Typically, what goes down on Sunday nights, we're going back to very, very volatile Sunday nights. So hang tough, everybody. Future is extremely bright. Happy Halloween and be safe out there. Thank you as well for everything. Bye.